In February, I had 27 pens in my inked up rotation. In March, I had 29, but for April, I feel like I've run a bunch of things dry in the past month, and I don't feel like I've inked up that many new things. So let's see what's currently inked. To start with, we have the Monteverde MP1. This is inked with Yamabudo, and I have decided I'm getting a bottle of Yamabudo. This is an extra fine. Such a pretty color. I'm shocked that it's taken me this long to decide I need a bottle of it, but I finally decided I need a bottle of it. Then we have the Navaler Desert Horizon. As always, these pens are picked at random from the tray. We're not going in any real order here. Inked up with FWP, so Ferris Wheel Press. This is Age of Orm. I believe. I do want to run this pen dry this month, purely because I sort of feel like I'm moving away from winter pens. Even though there's still snow on the ground, we are still heading into spring, and it feels time for this dark brown pen to finally be dry. Next up, we have the Lamy Vista. If you're a frequent watcher of this channel, you'll know I don't really like this pen, and I never have it inked up, but I have it inked up for a very specific reason, and so I inked it up with something fun. This is the broad nib with the first custom mix of this video. Storied blue. It's a very, very pretty green that's sort of similar to Peter Moss from Ferris Wheel Press, except just a hint of shimmer from Age of Orm. And I really like that. I needed a fun ink for it that was just a little bit interesting. Just go back and do our swatch for that. Then we have my Kaweco Rushi. Now, you've finally seen the video on this. The video for this pen is finally public. Yijing did such amazing work on it. I love the little hint of radin it has in the center of some of the flowers, and it's such a fun pen. And it also has a fun nib in it. Sport. Matthew Chen did the nib for this pen. It's just a stock Kaweco nib that's been ground into a cursive italic smooth. It actually started as a double broad, so there was lots of tipping to work with. And Sailor Manyo Haha, which is still one of my favorite inks from Sailor. The BENU Euphoria in Hot Toddy. Will I ever put this much ink in an eyedroppered pen again? Probably not. Has it been fun? Yes. And I continue to run it dry. We've made a bit of a dent this month again. And I'm very glad that I liked the color I put into it as much as I did, because if not, it would have been a very long slog for this pen. Instead, I've enjoyed the color, and so it hasn't felt nearly as long because this pen has now been inked up since October. So this is the BENU Goldspot Hot Toddy with a fine nib. And it has FWP russet typecase. In it. It's a very pretty ink and pen combo, in my opinion. Like, it just, the ink matches the band so well. I think had the ink not matched as well as it did, I would be far more annoyed that I'd still had not managed to run this pen dry. It holds a lot of ink. There's a reason most people do not eyedropper their BENU Euphorias, even though it is theoretically possible. Next up is the Ferris Wheel Press Blue Revelry. I will say this pen has been hard starting as we got to the end of this month. I think there's probably glitter stuck in the tines. This ink is very glitter forward, so I'm just gonna quickly swirl it around in some water and see if that was enough to get rid of. It was walking the feet, hopefully it was. FWP. I think this pen will need a full clean. Yeah, you just don't want to write, do you? It's got plenty of ink. It is a very pretty color. So this pen did not come stock with the broad nib. I had the broad nib from the Kickstarter and I decided to put it in this pen. But I think this pen will be going into at least the nib cleaning pile, and maybe the nib will get flossed because it has been working fairly well. And then all of a sudden, in the past like 3 or 4 days, it hasn't been working as nicely. But I think it's finally time to deal with that. So it will go in the to fix pile. We have my Pelikan M200 Golden Barrel. With a medium nib. I still have not tried the Golden Barrel ink, but I love the Golden Barrel pen. This is FWP Royal Rhubarb. There seems to be a theme this month with many Ferris Wheel pressings in the rotation. I think it's because so many of my really nice muted colors are from Ferris Wheel Press, and I am longing for spring, but it is still snowing, and so I feel like we're into those like muted summer colors, but not, or springtime colors, but not really spring and summer colors. We have my Cobalt Esty from Esterbrook. This is the re-release of the Cobalt Blue material, and it has a Kriegspier mini stub on it from Esterbrook. I love how the mini stub makes my writing look. If I could have it on every pen, I would have that grind on every pen I owned. And this is Private Reserve. Fast, dry. Blue. I don't like all of the Private Reserve inks. I find many of them bleed. Fast Dry Blue, on the other hand, and any of the Fast Dry inks I've tried, do not. They dry very quickly. They go down very nicely. And for me, it has replaced Parker Quink in the non-Parker pens that I had Quink in for a while, just because it can. And it works quite well. We have my Bordeaux Kaweco Sport. I love how this clip has patinaed over the past year. It is so lovely and dark now. This has a shimmer ink in it. It has had a shimmer ink in it now for over a year, and I still adore it. Nib. And this has FWP. Trust. I love having a gold pen in my purse because you never know when you're going to need to write a birthday card or a thank you note. And so having something sparkly in your back pocket is always a nice thing. We have my Montblanc 146. This has Montblanc Jane Austen in it purely because I wanted an ink from Montblanc that I could be happy having in this pen for the rest of this pen's life in my collection. Jane Austen is that ink for me, and so Jane Austen is the ink in this pen. I don't know the nib size on this because Montblanc does not put nib sizes on pens. If I had to guess, I think it's a medium, just based on how it compares to the rest of the pens in my collection. It feels very medium. It doesn't quite feel like a fine. It feels a bit wider than a BENU fine. It feels more similar to a Pelican medium. So I'm going to say it's a medium. If you have a different opinion, let me know down below, because I do not know nearly enough about Montblanc nibs. Next up is my Pilot Decimo. I love a good clicky pen, and in my opinion, no one does it better than Pilot. So this is the Pilot Decimo. Purple with a broad nib. I did buy the nib section separately, which you can do through a few retailers. I found mine secondhand, though Goldspot does carry the nib if you are looking for it. And this is FWP. Plus I decided to mix the little Rubinia ink with a tiny bit of Royal Rhubarb just because I wanted a slightly darker purple, but I wanted something more warm toned than any of the Ferris wheel pressed purples I had, and really any of the purple inks in my collection all lean pretty cool. But I wanted something slightly more warm for this pen, and I really like this custom ink mix. I think it works quite well, and it was super fun. So then we have the Esterbrook JR Twinkle. I love a good JR. I've got 2 different JRs in my collection. We ran one dry this month. We've got one still going strong, and there's just something really nice about the JR. It has a fine nib and colorverse. White hole, which is not a color from the Colorverse Advent Calendar that made it into production, which is so sad because it is such a good match for so many pale blue pens in my collection, and I think many other people's collections. So I have 15 mils of it from somebody in the Canadian Pen group who did not want it from their Advent calendar, and hopefully I'm able to track some more down over the next little bit. We have another Navaler Horizon pen. This is the Glacier. This was actually my first pen from Navaler, and it has now been permanently inked up in my collection since last June, always with the same color. It always gets Montblanc Midnight Blue in it. I love the gradient on this pen. And so this is the also has a broad nib. Midnight Blue. Up next, we have the Visconti Mirage from Claire Coco that she and Peter got me for Christmas. I quite adore this pen. It is currently inked up with Tasha Sabi Midori, which I will be getting a bottle of at Chicago because my sample's almost empty. Visconti. Medium nib. On this paper, it tends to just sheen, but on some other papers, you really get to see just how spectacularly fabulous it is. And it is a color that I've used in 30 Days, 30 Inks, if you go over to the shorts feed. I think it's already up, or it'll be up in the next couple days, where I use it to do a set of tiny trees. And finally, before we move on to the next page, we have the Wancha Pacino. I do not know how many of these pens Kirk Spear sold yet last year at Chicago, but it was many because so many of us had this little pen clipped to our lanyards, myself included, and it's sort of stupid, but I love it. No, this is a fine nib. It has diamond. Earl Grey in it. I do really like the fact that especially like my colors in my color palette this month are colors, but they're moody colors. Like we're not avoiding color. It's not still constantly just different variations of dark blues, but it is still very much like it's still winterish, it's still cold. Let's throw some color in, but let it be moody. And I believe this is the last Kaweco Sport I have currently inked. This pen has been inked since October of 2023. It always gets the same color in it. And it is my Mellow Blue. And it has FWP Dusk in Bloom in it. Which has, it's quite dark this month in the pen. It's been a couple months since I've filled this pen. So there's been a little bit of evaporation compared to how it looks fresh out of a bottle, but that's fine. I will use this pen until I run it dry. I also finally inked up my Platinum Preppy. I've had this pen on my desk since November, but it just keeps getting passed over, and then suddenly I had a reason to ink it up. And so it got inked up, it got eyedroppered, and I quite like it. It is one of the special editions from last summer, but it is still available a few places. I love this muted pink, and I think it just goes well with all of these like muted blues and greens that I've got going on. We have the Gourmet Pens Opus 88 Mini Freezy, or Pocket Freezy, whatever it's called. I love this pen. I was so happy to be able to pick it up secondhand from somebody who was not in love with this pen, because I utterly adore it. So this is called Pocket Freezy. Pond. This is an ink I regret not buying a second bottle of while it was still available everywhere on the market, but someday I'll find another bottle of it. For now, though, I am slowly but surely working my way through my bottle and only using it when I really, really like the ink and pen combo. I adore the little paint splatters on this pen cap. They're just so fabulous. Right, we have our last Esterbrook pen of this video. This is the Esterbrook SD in Punch. FWP. Spite. I love that this ink is called Sugar and Spite. Next up, we have a metal pen from Navaler. I went through a phase that I really wasn't into metal pens, and now I'm really, really enjoying them, especially if they've got a very sleek look to them like this pen does. There are a couple others that I've got my eye on from some other brands, but this is the Navaler Nautilus TI in all black, and I just love it. Got a medium nib. And it's inked up with FWP. Really, I think this pen was the beginning of my summer or spring colors. It was the inspiration I needed to like start reaching for other more fun colors, moving out of the winter into bright and just fun. We have 2 pens left. One of them is my custom from Rob's Penworks. And as soon as I have a fully sunny day where I can film with this pen outside, you will be getting a video on it because studio lights just don't do this pen justice. This is the Rob's pen. Fine nib. This is Sailor. Nope, that's not how you spell it. N-E K-O-Y-A-N-A-G-I at 90% plus blue, black. So this was 95%. I love that custom mix. In person, it is an excellent match for the pen. I don't know that it looks like as good of a match on camera, but when you see it in person, it is such a good match. And then finally, we have my little Hongdian Forest. This pen is always inked up. It has been inked up since December of 2023. It always gets Sailor Kirigiro in it, which is a black waterproof ink. All right, so even with adding 2 new pens this month, we're down to 22 pens, which is the least number of pens we've had inked up the entire time. I might call it 21 depending on what happens here. For now though, let me know which pen was your favorite. Do you have a preferred pen and ink combination? Would you have switched the inks in any pens with any other inks that are in this inked up? Let me know down below, and I hope you enjoyed. It's been fun to try and run these pens dry before the Chicago Pen Show. Clearly, I did not fully succeed, but I did make a dent in the number of pens I have inked, and that was the important part. So thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.